All right, let's bring you this story now. Business lobby groups are concerned about a recent decision by U.S. lawmakers to review bilateral relations with South Africa. The review might affect the African Growth and Opportunity Pact, that's AGOA. South Africa remains the largest trade partner with the U.S. in Africa. The president of the South African Chamber of Commerce in the U.S., Neil Diamond, joins us now to chat a bit more about the story. Neil, it's great to talk to you. Thanks very much for coming onto the program. What's your initial reaction to this bill? Because it sort of feels like it came in through the back door while we were busy with elections and forming a government of national unity.
Good morning, Michelle, and good morning to your viewers. Well, morning in the US.
Yeah.
The legislation passed by the US House for a full review of South Africa's relationship with the US could have several significant impacts. The US goods and services between the US and South Africa amounted to 25 billion in 2022, with South Africa's exports to the US close on to 8.3 billion in 2023. The impact on South Africa's ties with the US is that the legislation signals a potential shift in the bilateral relationship between South Africa and the US. This review could lead to increased scrutiny of political, economic, and security aspects in the relationship. Depending on the findings, it might result in adjustments to existing agreements, a evaluation of support, or even implementation of new conditions. Some staffers on the Hill have spoken about sanctions. This could strain diplomatic relations and create uncertainty for business and investors. I think the impact on AGOA specifically is that AGOA is a critical framework that facilitates trade between the US and eligible African countries, including South Africa. A full review of South Africa's relationship with the US may lead to a re-evaluation of South Africa's eligibility under AGOA. This could potentially result in a suspension or modification of benefits, negatively impacting trade and economic growth. South Africa's exporters, particularly in key sectors such as automotive, textiles, and agriculture, could face new barriers to the US market, affecting jobs and economic stability in South Africa. I think our biggest concern is the potential for increased economic instability and uncertainty. The review of any resultant policy changes could disrupt the strong trade and investment ties that currently exist between South Africa and the US. Businesses operating under AGOA and other bilateral agreements may face new challenges leading to decreased investor confidence and potential job losses. Moreover, any deterioration in diplomatic relations could further complicate efforts to address mutual interest and cooperations globally between South Africa and the US.
Yeah, I mean, how would you describe our relations currently, Neil, with the US, South Africa's relations with the US?
I think the relations between South Africa and the US has been cordial, but it has been strained for quite a long time. There's been definite attempts from both sides to restore that relationship. We saw that in the call that President Biden made to President Ramaphosa to congratulate him on his re-election by Parliament as President of the Republic of South Africa. We also saw that this past week where Secretary of State Anthony Blinken contacted our new Minister of International Relations, Ronald Lamola, to congratulate him on his appointment. So there are definite attempts to restore this relationship. But my earnest opinion from business side is that the relationship is strained.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's one step. The amendment may still fail in the Senate, where the Democrats have still a slight majority. And even if it is passed there, it can still be vetoed by President Joe Biden. But do you think this is a sign of things to come if indeed we face a Trump presidency come November?
I think it has got definitely a long-term impact on the bilateral relations between our two countries. There is a lot that could be done, not just by the two governments, but by the diaspora and by the business community. But this is something that we need to take a serious look at. The US is our second largest trading partner, and South Africa is the US's largest trading partner in Africa. We are a significant global player. Our geopolitical position and our geographic position makes South Africa a desirable partner. But I think our international relations at this stage have left some discomfort with certain members of Congress and senators on the Hill. We also need to be very clear. South Africa is a sovereign nation. And we, as such, have, for our national interest, need to maintain relations with all countries across the globe. The US also needs to respect that. But at the same time, we need to be mindful that trade and commerce drives the economy and drives politics. Our country has got a lot of needs, especially when it comes to economic development, growth, and job creation. And the US is a massive catalyst and investor into our country.
Certainly. Neil Diamond, let me thank you for your time this afternoon. He is the president of the South African Chamber of Commerce in the US. And yeah, the business lobby alarmed at US House voting for a full review of South Africa's relationship. And of course, lots of uncertainty it might spell in the future.